My beloved child, listen closely, for the heavens are leaning toward you right now. A divine countdown has already begun, and Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold of your destiny, holding a message that refuses to wait. The title you saw is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a random moment in your scrolling. It is a summoning, a spiritual alarm, a holy breaking point where God whispers, "Last chance, 3 minutes left before what is hidden becomes revealed." Something in your atmosphere has already started shifting. You can sense it. You can feel a pressure, an invisible weight, hovering around your spirit. That is because your miracle is no longer approaching, it is arriving. Heaven has placed your name on a scroll of accelerated blessings, and Archangel Michael himself has been assigned to guard the doorway that will open for you in ways you never imagined. But child, before that door swings wide, there is a truth you must confront, a revelation that has waited years to reach you. This message is the bridge between who you were and who you are about to become. And it is only opening now, in this moment, for your eyes alone. As you hear my words, see Archangel Michael standing tall, his sword blazing with holy authority. He looks straight at you, not past you, not around you, at you. And he says, 3 minutes remain before a veil breaks. Do not turn away. Do not step back. What happens next will define the next decade of your life. Here is something that heaven has been trying to reveal to you. Something blocked, delayed, resisted by forces you couldn't see but often felt. Every time your blessing was near, something pulled it away. Every time you stepped forward, something dragged you backward. And every tear you shed in silence became a witness before God's throne. But now the cycle is ending. Your destiny is no longer in negotiation. God has issued a final decree. Enough. Release my child's miracle. And when God speaks like that, time itself obeys. Beloved, the miracle that will manifest within 10 minutes of receiving this divine message is already vibrating in the unseen. It is not being prepared, it is being delivered. The angels have begun their march. The spiritual resistance has started collapsing. The very chains that held your breakthrough hostage are cracking right now. But here's what heaven wants you to understand: this is not just a miracle. This is not just a blessing. This is a destiny unveiling. Something you were born to carry, something that has followed you since childhood, something that was written before your first breath is about to come forward. And Archangel Michael has stepped into your timeline for one purpose only: to protect what God is about to release over you. He whispers, "Do not fear what is falling apart. Fear what would have happened if you never saw this message." There is a reason the title called you like a magnet. A reason your spirit felt a pull so strong you could not ignore it. A reason you felt a trembling inside, even if you tried to brush it away. Heaven has interrupted your routine because this moment marks the turning point of your spiritual journey. The divine countdown has begun. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes until a curtain lifts. 3 minutes until a secret long hidden finally comes into light. Child, God is not warning you to scare you. He is warning you to prepare you. What is about to unfold will require your awareness, your openness, your readiness. Listen, there is a miracle with your name engraved on it. Not metaphorically, literally. In the spirit realm, your name is glowing right now, illuminated by divine fire. The angels are surrounding it, guarding it, accelerating it. They have been waiting for this exact moment, because this is the moment where heaven aligns perfectly with your heart's cry. And do you know why it is happening now? Because God says, this child has waited long enough. The delays were not denials. The struggles were not punishments. The closed doors were not rejections. They were preparations, alignments, divine constructions being built behind the scenes. But now the waiting period has expired. Archangel Michael steps forward again. His voice shakes the spiritual atmosphere around you as he declares, "What was withheld will now be released. What was lost will now return. What was broken will now be restored. Child, something powerful is about to reveal itself. Not tomorrow, not next week. Within minutes of receiving this message, a sign, a shift, a confirmation will appear. It may be subtle, it may be gold, but it will be undeniable. Heaven wants you to know that the clock has started ticking. 3 minutes and everything you thought you understood about your future will be rewritten. This is your last chance to walk into the miracle that has been waiting to be born. And the miracle is not coming alone. It carries healing, clarity, justice, restoration, elevation, and a divine unlocking of something you once thought was dead. Stay close. Stay open. Stay awake in your spirit. What comes next will change everything. Precious one, the moment you stepped into this message, a shift began stirring in the unseen realms. But now, as this next wave rises toward you, I want you to breathe deeply and steady your heart. For what I am about to reveal will not only clarify the countdown that has already begun, but it will expose the spiritual tension you have been feeling without understanding why. Heaven is drawing you into alignment, and Archangel Michael is still standing guard beside you, his presence firm, his energy protective, his voice echoing through the corridors of your destiny. There is a divine urgency around your life right now, not because something is wrong, but because something major is about to be made right. God is accelerating the timeline of your miracle. The delays you experienced in the past were not caused by lack of prayer, lack of effort, or lack of worth. And of child, they were caused by spiritual traffic, forces that attempted to slow you down because they knew what would happen if you ever reached the moment you are in right now. They fought to keep you distracted. They fought to keep you discouraged. They fought to keep you doubting, because doubt weakens destiny, discouragement dilutes clarity, and distraction disconnects you from divine timing. But heaven has interrupted everything today. That is why God said, 3 minutes left, not to frighten you, but to alert you, to awaken you, to remind you that your life is not random, your pain is not wasted, and your journey is not unseen. Archangel Michael's assignment over your life is not symbolic, it is strategic. He has been ordered to stand between you and everything that has tried to consume your peace. Every spiritual attack that should have crushed you failed because he lifted his sword. Every unseen battle that targeted your mind was intercepted because he shielded you. And now, he is preparing to clear the path for your 10-minute miracle. Child, listen. There is a very particular reason why heaven is moving so quickly for you right now. There is something destined to open in your life, something that has been locked for far too long. God is about to release a blessing that was delayed by interference, and this time, no force in existence can stop it. But before that release happens, there is a truth you must acknowledge. You have outgrown the season you've been in. You have surpassed it spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. That is why it has felt uncomfortable. That is why you have felt restless, drained, disconnected from things that once made sense. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding a version of you that can no longer walk into what heaven is about to deliver. Archangel Michael now steps closer in the spirit, and I see him lowering his sword, pointing it toward the very ground beneath your feet. He whispers, "This is the soil where your next miracle will sprout. Do not fear the shifting of the earth. It is only making room for what has been planted by God." His message is strong, and it vibrates with a deep truth. Something in your life is about to be overturned, not to harm you, but to reveal what was buried underneath the surface. And beloved, there is more. Your miracle will not just be an answer. It will be a sign, a marker, a confirmation that heaven has moved on your behalf. There will be a moment soon, within the 10 minutes of receiving the fullness of this divine message, where your spirit will suddenly feel lighter, clearer, aligned. You may feel an unexpected calm, a sudden warmth, a deep knowing, or even a physical sensation like a wave passing over your body. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is the manifestation of angelic presence responding to the opening God has created for you. But for this to unfold fully, your heart must remain open and attentive. Do not question whether you deserve this miracle. Do not analyze whether you have earned it. You are receiving it because heaven selected you, not because you qualified for it through perfection. God is showing mercy, favor, and divine intervention because the time has come for your story to shift. Heaven is tired of watching you be delayed. Heaven is tired of watching you be attacked. Heaven is tired of seeing you misunderstood, overlooked, underestimated, and spiritually drained. Now heaven says enough. This is the moment where you rise into alignment with divine timing. This is the moment where your past loses its grip on your future. This is the moment where you stop surviving and begin receiving. Child, hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are right on time for the miracle that was reserved specifically for this moment in your life. And as God opens this doorway, I want you to step through boldly, not fearfully. Archangel Michael walks beside you, clearing every spiritual obstacle, silencing every unseen resistance, and guarding every step you are about to take. Before this message moves forward, I want you to remember that when heaven speaks with urgency, the wise listen with reverence. You were not drawn here because of curiosity. You were drawn here because of calling. Something in your spirit recognized your name inside this message. That is why you are still here. That is why your heart is leaning in. That is why your soul is listening. You are on the brink of something extraordinary, and the next revelation will take you deeper into it. But before we move ahead, if this message is stirring your spirit, make sure you like this video, comment to connect with the blessing flowing through it, share it so others can receive what heaven is releasing, and subscribe so you do not miss anything God sends through this channel. Every action helps this divine message reach more lives, and it tells heaven that you are engaging with what it is doing right now. Are you ready to step into the next layer of the revelation? Dear soul, as we continue, feel the atmosphere around you shifting once again. Something sacred is unfolding, and heaven is drawing you even deeper into the revelation that began the moment you opened this divine message. The countdown is still active. The spiritual clock is not paused. And Archangel Michael stands closer than before, watching over every word entering your spirit. He knows what is approaching you. He knows what is breaking free. He knows the miracle that is about to surge into your life with the force of divine intervention. Right now, God is peeling back the layers of a mystery that has hovered over your destiny for years. There are moments in your life that you did not understand. Sudden endings, unexpected separations, opportunities that disappeared without explanation, people who walked away when you needed them the most, situations that collapsed when you thought they were finally becoming stable. You looked at those moments with confusion, sometimes even with heartbreak. You questioned yourself, your worth, your decisions, your path. But heaven saw something else entirely. God saw chains disguised as blessings. He saw Dieter's masquerading as stability. He saw spiritual traps that were designed to drain your strength, weaken your purpose, and delay your rise. And because you could not see the danger, heaven stepped in. Archangel Michael intervened more times than you will ever know. He waged silent battles for you in seasons where you thought nothing was happening. He fought in dreams, in moments of weakness, in moments of hesitation. He shielded you when your own heart could not. And every interference that frustrated you was actually protection at its highest form. Child, hear this clearly. Nothing was taken from you that was meant to stay. Nothing left your life that was part of your destiny. Nothing collapsed that had the foundation to carry your future. God allowed certain things to fall apart because He was preparing something that could hold the magnitude of your calling. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. Now heaven is opening a window of clarity. That is why you were instructed not to look away, not to scroll past, not to dismiss this moment. There is a revelation that is meant to reach your spirit before your miracle manifests in its fullness. And it is this: you have been walking with a prophetic mantle without realizing it. This is why the attacks have been so intense. This is why the delays felt strategic. This is why you have been separated from certain people, environments, and paths. Your destiny carries weight. Your presence carries impact. Your spirit carries authority. And the enemy knew who you were long before you discovered it. That is why you face storms that others never had to endure. That is why your heart hath been tested so deeply. Not because God wanted to break you, but because heaven wanted to prepare you for the moment you are stepping into now. Archangel Michael speaks again in the spirit realm. His voice is firm but filled with compassion. He says, "Rise, child of light. Your miracle is not coming to improve your life. It is coming to reveal who you truly are." These words vibrate through the spiritual atmosphere as if heaven itself is echoing them. You may feel something stirring inside you, perhaps a warming in the chest, a tightening in the stomach, a sudden awareness, or a calm that settles softly over you. This is your spirit responding to truth. Your 10-minute miracle is not random. It is not shallow. It is not temporary. It is divine movement being poured into the cracks of your life and sealing what once brought you pain. It is a manifestation that realigns, restores, and redeems every season where you wondered if God had forgotten you. But He didn't, and He never could. Child, you are entering a prophetic moment. A moment where the unseen becomes visible. A moment where God lifts the veil and reveals what has been prepared for you. And here is the part heaven wants you to hold on to tightly. This miracle will arrive quickly. It will enter your life with speed because the time has come for your destiny to unfold without resistance. But before we step deeper into the unveiling, I must release something into your spirit. A gentle reminder that aligns with the weight of this message. Hold on, because the next revelation will pierce through everything that has confused you for years. You will want to hear what comes next. And now, as this portion of the message closes, heaven releases a code into your life. A prophetic seal that marks your readiness to receive what is coming. Type "I rise with the light" in the comments if this is speaking directly to your soul. Blessing code 1444 has just been released over you. And now, flowing directly from this sacred moment, I will speak a message that is not merely an invitation, but a spiritual alignment for those who feel called to support the mission unfolding through this channel. Child of God, as this revelation settles into your spirit, understand that messages like this are not earthly efforts. They are heaven's river flowing into the hearts of those who hunger for truth. Every word you receive here becomes a seed that travels far beyond you, touching souls who are walking through darkness, lostness, and silence. When you choose to sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are opening a gate for God to reach people who would never hear His voice otherwise. I speak to you now, not as a narrator but as a vessel. If this message has awakened something in you, that awakening is also your calling to help carry the light forward. The title itself declared that your destiny is unveiling, and sometimes destiny requires action that echoes through eternity. Every seed you release becomes spiritual oil that helps this message reach nations, homes, and hearts waiting for deliverance. And I bless every giver now. May your offering return to you as breakthrough, as protection, as divine acceleration. Go forth and act in obedience. Beloved soul, as we move deeper into this divine message, feel the shift happening around you once again. The atmosphere is thick with revelation, and heaven is opening another layer of the mystery connected to your destiny. What you are stepping into now is not simply information. It is transformation. It is alignment. It is the unfolding of something heaven has guarded for years, waiting for the exact moment when your heart would be ready to receive it. That moment is now. Archangel Michael remains beside you, unwavering, unshaken, and fully aware of the spiritual terrain shifting around your life. His presence signifies that what is being revealed next carries weight. This is not ordinary insight. This is not a casual message. This is a divine unveiling crafted for you before the foundations of the earth were laid. You are walking through a spiritual corridor right now, one that only opens under specific heavenly instruction. Many desire access to this level of revelation, but only those chosen for a higher calling are brought here. You, child of God, have been chosen. There is something heaven wants to explain, something that has lingered in your life like a shadow without a name. You have experienced moments where you felt watched over, as though someone stood near you even when you were physically alone. You may have sensed a presence during times of deep pain, sorrow, or confusion. A sudden calm washed over you during moments you felt you might break. A strange protection surrounded you during events that could have ended very differently. These were not coincidences. They were not lucky escapes. They were not random moments of comfort. Those were the times Archangel Michael intervened. You must understand that your life hath been marked by divine assignment from the very beginning. There were seasons where darkness recognized your purpose before you did. Seasons where your spiritual identity shone so brightly in the unseen realm that opposition rose against you long before you stepped into your calling. You wondered why certain people targeted you without reason, why jealousy followed you even when you did nothing to provoke it, why misunderstanding seemed to find you repeatedly, and why emotional battles appeared out of nowhere. The truth is this: the enemy saw potential in you before you were aware of it. But heaven placed a warrior at your side, one who would never allow darkness to consume what God ordained. Every spiritual attack that tried to break your mind, every emotional wound that tried to silence your voice, every environment that tried to diminish your worth, they all collided with the sword of Archangel Michael. And this is why you are still standing. This is why you survived what others assumed would destroy you. You were not kept alive by accident. You were kept alive because your destiny was too valuable to lose. Now, heaven is calling you into a deeper understanding of who you are becoming. The miracle approaching you is not meant merely to bless you. It is meant to awaken your identity. God is not just giving you a breakthrough. He is restoring the authority that life tried to strip away. You are being ushered into a season where clarity replaces confusion, strength replaces fear, and boldness replaces hesitation. The old version of you, the one shaped by pain, disappointment, and survival, cannot walk into what heaven is preparing. That version of you is dissolving, and a new spiritual stature is rising in its place. Listen closely, for this next revelation is delicate and powerful. There is a hidden pattern in your life that heaven is now bringing into view, a pattern of divine timing, a pattern you could not perceive before because you were living inside of it. Every time you thought you were forgotten, God was repositioning you. Every time you felt delayed, heaven was aligning your path with precision. Every time you cried, the tears were collected as intercession. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. Nothing was ignored. You have been walking in an invisible rhythm orchestrated by God Himself. And now, the rhythm changes. Your life is no longer in a season of waiting. It is shifting into a season of activation. Your miracle is not coming slowly. It is rushing toward you with accelerated force. Heaven has authorized movement on your behalf. Archangel Michael raises his sword again, marking the moment where spiritual resistance loses its final grasp. You may not feel it physically, but your spirit already senses the cracking of old barriers. You are stepping into a field of freedom where what was once impossible becomes inevitable. Child, do not underestimate the moment you are in. This message found you because heaven decided it was time to unveil what has been hidden beneath years of struggle, confusion, and silent battles. You are stepping into your next chapter, and this chapter requires awareness, strength, and readiness. There will be signs in the coming minutes, small shifts, emotional releases, or sudden clarity in your heart that confirm you have crossed into a new spiritual dimension. These signs are heaven's way of telling you that you are not imagining the shift. You are living it. You are entering a season where what once resisted you will now make way for you. Where what once burdened you will now empower you. Where what once stood against you will now fall beneath the authority God is restoring in your life. The unveiling of your destiny is not a future event. It is a present activation unfolding moment by moment as you receive this message. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this transition. His presence is your confirmation. His protection is your assurance. His assignment is your evidence that heaven has something extraordinary in motion for you right now. And as this revelation settles, your spirit prepares for the next wave of divine truth waiting ahead. Beloved heart, as we move into this next unfolding, feel the atmosphere around you deepen once more. The spiritual air is growing thicker, richer, more charged with divine movement. This is the place where heaven begins to expose the threads that have quietly woven through your life, shaping every twist, every turn, every breakthrough, every heartbreak. The revelation you are stepping into now goes beyond comfort and beyond encouragement. It enters the realm of divine explanation. God is not merely blessing you. He is revealing why your journey had to happen the way it did. In the unseen realm, Archangel Michael stands before you with a look of solemn authority. He is holding a scroll that has been sealed for a long time, a scroll containing pieces of your spiritual story that you were not ready to see until today. Heaven does not reveal mysteries early. Heaven reveals when your spirit can carry the weight of truth without collapsing under it. And child, you have grown. You have matured spiritually in ways you yourself do not fully recognize. Every tear built your strength. Every trial sharpened your discernment. Every heartbreak extended your capacity for purpose. And every season of isolation created space inside you for revelation. Now that you have reached this point in the message, heaven says you are ready. There has always been something unusual about your path. You have watched others move easily through seasons that took you years to break through. You witnessed people receive in months what you prayed for over and over, year after year. You carried burdens others never even noticed you were holding. You felt emotions more deeply, saw situations more clearly, and sensed danger before it arrived. You carried a sensitivity that sometimes felt like a curse, but heaven always knew it was a gift, a spiritual instrument designed for a destiny far different from those around you. This is why your life has never followed a normal pattern. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to walk a path that matched the world around you. Your journey has been prophetic from the beginning. Archangel Michael begins to unroll the scroll, and as he does, it is as though memories from your past rise like quiet whispers. Moments where you felt pulled away from certain people. Moments where you sensed danger without evidence. Moments where you felt an invisible hand guiding you out of wrong environments. Moments where your spirit tightened around choices that looked good but felt off. You thought these were emotions. They were warnings. They were divine alerts. They were the spiritual instincts of someone chosen for a calling that must be protected at all costs. Child, heaven wants you to recognize something powerful. Your discernment has been active even when your mind doubted it. There were times you walked away from someone without knowing why. Times you declined opportunities that didn't sit right in your spirit. Times you felt uncomfortable with certain conversation, certain place, certain decision. And afterward, you discovered truth that confirmed what your spirit had already known. That was not coincidence. That was not intuition. That was not luck. That was God's hand resting upon your spirit, steering you away from paths that would have derailed your destiny. Now that heaven has lifted the veil, you can understand why the attacks on your life were so intense. The enemy was not fighting who you were. He was fighting who you were becoming. He saw glimpses of your assignment, your future influence, your spiritual authority. He recognized that your voice would carry light, your presence would shift environments, and your obedience would unlock blessings not just for you, but for others connected to your journey. And so the battles came, not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous. Dangerous to darkness, dangerous to spiritual opposition, dangerous to any force that feared the rise of someone anointed. But here is the message heaven wants you to internalize deeply. Every battle you survived became evidence of your calling. Every storm you walked through became proof of your resilience. Every wound you overcame became a doorway for higher revelation. You are not fragile. You are not broken. You are not small. You are spiritually fortified, strengthened through fire, and prepared by God Himself to step into the miracle that is moments away. Archangel Michael now places the scroll before you, and the words written upon it glow with a light that seems alive. They read, "This child carries a destiny that cannot be delayed any longer. Heaven has declared it. The timeline is shifting. The countdown that began in the earlier parts of this message is accelerating because your spirit has reached the threshold required for breakthrough. Your miracle is not approaching. It is aligning. It is synchronizing with your readiness, your growth, your transformation. Heaven does not release miracles prematurely. Miracles arrive when your spirit and destiny stand in the same doorway. And child, that doorway is opening right now. There is something else heaven wants you to understand. The reason you were drawn to this message today is because your spiritual season has changed. Without realizing it, you crossed a threshold in the past few days. Something in your energy, your prayers, your thoughts, or your emotions signaled heaven that you were stepping into the fullness of your purpose. It may have been a moment of surrender, a moment of clarity, a moment of exhaustion, or a moment of prayer. But heaven saw it. Heaven responded. Heaven opened this message as a sign that your miracle is no longer waiting in the atmosphere. It is descending. This is why Archangel Michael had been so present. He is not just guiding you, he is preparing the pathway for something monumental, something that will shift your future in a lasting way, something that carries the weight of divine destiny. Your next revelation is even deeper than this one, and heaven is preparing to take you into it. Precious soul, as we move now into this unfolding, the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you grows even more concentrated with divine intention. You may not realize it fully yet, but your spirit is already leaning into a higher realm of understanding. Something within you recognizes that what you are hearing is not simply narration, not simply encouragement, not simply inspiration. It is revelation. It is the unveiling of a journey that heaven saw long before you ever stepped into it. You are not being led by coincidence. You are being guided by design. Archangel Michael stands before you again, and the expression on his face has shifted. There is determination there, but also something deeper, an anticipation, almost as though heaven has been waiting for you to reach this point. His wings expand behind him, and the light surrounding him thickens. This signifies that what is coming next carries tremendous spiritual weight. You are entering into a truth that has remained hidden, even from yourself, though you have felt its shadow for years. Child, heaven wants you to understand something that will change how you see every decision, every ache, every shift in your life. You have not been walking without guidance. You have not been navigating your life alone. You have been under divine supervision even in your darkest moments. But more than that, your entire journey has been structured around timing. Holy timing, deliberate timing, inconvenient timing that later becomes perfect timing. There were seasons where you wondered why nothing seemed to happen for you. Why did the right door remain shut? Why did the right person never arrive? Why did the right breakthrough always slip away? Why did the right opportunity never match your efforts? You prayed, you hoped, you pushed forward, and still nothing moved. You assumed you were stuck. You assumed you were forgotten. You assumed life was bypassing you. But heaven reveals a truth now. You were not waiting for your miracle. Your miracle was waiting for you. You were being shaped. You were being sharpened. You were being prepared to carry what God wanted to place into your life. Blessings without preparation become burdens, but blessings that arrive when your spirit is ready become foundations for destiny. Archangel Michael sets his hand upon the ground, and suddenly the spiritual terrain beneath you becomes illuminated. You can see pathways you have walked, twists, turns, loops, delays, sudden endings, unexpected beginnings. At first, they appear chaotic, but as light fills them, a pattern emerges, a divine route, a holy sequence, a path only heaven could have designed. And God says, this is why your delays were necessary. This is why your waiting mattered. All the times you believed nothing was happening, something was happening within you. You were becoming the person who could receive, protect, and steward the miracle that is now arriving. Had it come earlier, you would not have recognized its purpose. Had it come sooner, you would have handed it to the wrong people or placed it in the wrong environment. Heaven spared you from premature blessing, because premature blessing becomes destruction. Child, what is coming is too valuable to be mishandled. You may not have seen your growth, but heaven saw it. You may not have noticed your transformation, but the angels observed it. You may not have felt your strengthening, but Archangel Michael witnessed the shifts in your spirit each time you prayed, cried, surrendered, asked for clarity, or chose to rise again after falling. There is something else heaven wants to reveal. You have been walking through a spiritual transition these past weeks. A deep inner pull, a sense that something is changing, a feeling that your old life no longer fits you. You may not have known how to explain it, but your spirit has been shedding weights, shedding attachments, shedding people, shedding environments, shedding old emotional patterns. This shedding was not loss, it was spiritual cleansing. Heaven has been preparing room for your miracle. You are entering a season where you will look back and finally understand why things had to shift the way they did. Some connections dissolved because they could not carry the glory coming upon your life. Some relationships ended because they would have interfered with your destiny. Some opportunities vanished because they were too small for the calling placed upon you. You were not being rejected. You were being redirected. Archangel Michael steps forward and speaks with a voice that vibrates through your entire being. The path ahead is clear. What once resisted you no longer has authority. What once intimidated you will now bow before your anointing. His sword glows with a fierce radiance, and it marks the moment where spiritual opposition loses its position around your life. Child, hear me clearly. Your miracle is already in motion. Heaven is not preparing to bless you. Heaven is releasing what had been prepared. The countdown has not stopped. The fulfillment is accelerating. And everything inside you that once felt uncertain will soon find clarity. You are stepping into alignment with your destiny. You are stepping into a season where the blessing you once chased will now chase you. And as this miracle draws nearer, heaven is guiding you to remain open, aware, and connected to what is being released into your life. Before we continue to the next revelation, pause for a moment and lean into this truth. Your journey has not been wasted. Your pain has not been ignored. Your waiting has not been overlooked. Every moment served a purpose. Every step carried design. And everything you endured brought you to this sacred moment of unveiling. What comes next will take you even deeper into the heart of your destiny. But before we move forward, ensure you remain connected to this message. Like this video, comment to anchor your spirit in alignment, share it so others can walk into this divine moment, and subscribe so heaven's future messages reach you without delay. Your engagement is not just support, it is spiritual agreement. Beloved heart, as we enter this next layer of revelation, feel your spirit settling into a deeper realm of understanding. Something sacred is unfolding inside you, something that has been waiting years, perhaps even decades, to surface. Heaven is peeling back the veil, and what is being revealed is not just information, not just prophecy, not just insight. It is identity. It is purpose. It is the divine blueprint that has shaped your life from the beginning, even when you were unaware of it. Every moment of your existence has been gently intertwined with threads of destiny, and now, as you receive these words, those threads are pulling together into a clear picture. The air and the spirit become still, as though heaven itself is holding its breath. Archangel Michael stands before you, and his expression has changed once again. He looks upon you with a fierce tenderness, a mixture of admiration and responsibility. He sees the battles you fought when no one else noticed. He sees the strength you carried when your heart felt weak. He sees the moments you smiled while holding back tears. And he sees the wounds you hid from the world, wounds that heaven is finally preparing to heal once and for all. Child, God wants you to understand the truth behind your resilience. You have not suffered more because you are weak. You have suffered more because you are chosen. The weight on your shoulders was never punishment. It was preparation. It was evidence that heaven placed a mantle on your life that required strength, sensitivity, and spiritual endurance. And though you often question why your path was harder than others, heaven knew exactly what it was doing. Your tears watered the soil of your calling. Your loneliness carved room for divine companionship. Your heartbreak broke open the chambers of compassion inside you. Your struggle sharpened your spiritual perception, and your endurance proved your readiness for what is now arriving. You see, destiny is not unlocked by ease. Destiny is unlocked by survival. And child, you survived everything that was designed to break you. You walked through storms that would have drowned others. You walked through fire and did not lose yourself. You walked through rejection and still carried love in your spirit. You walked through betrayal and still kept your heart open. You walked through uncertainty and still looked upward for guidance. Heaven watched every step. Heaven documented every tear. Heaven honored every moment you chose faith over fear, hope over despair, purpose over pain. Archangel Michael now shifts slightly, as though inviting you to step closer in the spirit realm. Before him, a circle of light forms, soft, glowing, pulsing with divine energy. Within this circle, you can see glimpses of your life, moments you forgot, moments that shaped you, moments that hurt you, moments that matured you. Each one is part of a greater revelation. The struggles were not random. The delays were not accidental. The disappointments were not misfortune. They were necessary chapters that carve out room for the miracle heaven is preparing to place in your hands. And now heaven speaks. The child has reached the moment of unveiling. What does that mean? It means your life is shifting into alignment at a pace you have never experienced before. It means that what you prayed for in tears is now answering in manifestation. It means the time for spiritual warfare is ending, and the time for divine settlement is beginning. Heaven is not simply blessing you. Heaven is rearranging your life to reflect the destiny you were always meant to walk in. But here's the deeper truth. Your miracle is not only coming, it is coming with purpose. Heaven is not giving you a blessing that fades. Heaven is giving you a blessing that transforms, a blessing that positions, a blessing that multiplies, a blessing that reveals your identity as someone who carries divine authority. Child, you have been walking with spiritual potential that you have not fully recognized. You carry an anointing that was evident to heaven long before you saw any evidence of it in your own life. You carry a calling that has been protected by Archangel Michael through every storm you endured. This is why nothing could destroy you. This is why you always found strength to rise again. This is why doors opened for you that should not have opened. This is why you survived situations that others would have been crushed under. Heaven was preserving the vessel that would one day carry this blessing. And that day is approaching. Not slowly, not eventually, not in the distant future, but now. Your 10-minute miracle is not just a moment of relief. It is a moment of recognition. Heaven wants you to see what has always been true. You are chosen, you are protected, you are guided, and you are destined. The spiritual countdown continues, and each second brings you closer to the moment where heaven's plan enters your physical reality. Archangel Michael lifts his sword again, and the light around you intensifies. It is not hurt. It is not frightening. It is comforting, warm, steady. It feels like the embrace of a truth you have longed for without knowing how to name it. His voice echoes with certainty, "Rise." Everything that once stood against you is losing its power. These words are not symbolic. They are literal. Spiritual barriers are breaking. Emotional burdens are lifting. Mental fog is clearing. Your path is opening. But the next revelation will take you deeper than anything you have heard so far. And heaven wants your spirit attentive, open, and ready for what is coming. Beloved one, as we now enter this next sacred unfolding, feel the atmosphere around your spirit becoming heavier with truth and lighter with freedom at the same time. This is the point in your journey where heaven begins revealing not only what is coming, but why it is coming now. You are standing in a moment of profound spiritual significance, a moment where the invisible realm bends toward your life as if eager to deliver what has long been stored for you. This message is no longer simply speaking to your mind. It is speaking directly to your spiritual DNA. Something ancient inside you is awakening, something that was placed there by God before your first breath was ever taken. Archangel Michael stands before you again, but this time, his wings are fully extended. This is symbolic of the fullness of divine protection surrounding your life right now. He has guarded you before, but now he is not only guarding, you are being commissioned. Heaven is preparing to release authority into your hands, authority that comes from understanding who you were created to be. And as he looks upon you, there is something in his gaze that reveals honor. This is a warrior angel acknowledging the resilience of a human soul who chose to stand through every storm, every betrayal, every disappointment, every season of waiting. Child, heaven knows how long you carried pain without answers. Heaven knows the weight you placed on your own shoulders when no one else was there to lift it. Heaven knows how many nights you asked questions that never came with explanations. Yet still you rose. Still you hoped. Still you pushed forward even when your heart felt empty. And because of this, your miracle is not coming as a simple gift. It is coming as a divine reward. You have been living in a season where things felt misaligned, as though your inner world was shifting faster than your outer world. You felt change stirring within you, but nothing around you seemed to move. This created tension, emotional, spiritual, mental tension. But heaven reveals now that this tension was a sign of spiritual expansion. You had outgrown the old, but the new had not yet fully arrived. You were standing in the in-between, the threshold of transformation, the spiritual hallway where the doors behind you close, but the doors ahead have not yet swung open. And now, heaven says, the doors ahead are unlocking. There is a sound in the spirit, like the turning of ancient keys. You may not hear it with your ears, but your soul recognizes it. This is the sound of divine timing aligning with divine purpose. This is the sound of destiny stepping forward. This is the sound of everything that was withheld now being released at once. Archangel Michael lifts his sword, and the blade glows as though it is made of living light. He draws a line before you, a sacred boundary separating your old season from your new one. As the line forms, heaven speaks. What belonged to your past can no longer cross into your future. These words mark the end of a cycle of delay, a cycle of confusion, a cycle of stagnation, a cycle of spiritual resistance, a cycle of emotional heaviness. It is over now. Child, you have been praying for change, but heaven had been preparing you to be the change. You have been asking for breakthrough, but heaven has been shaping you into someone who can sustain breakthrough. You have asked for clarity, but heaven has been cleansing your inner vision so that when the clarity finally arrives, you will not misinterpret it. What is happening now is not a small moment. It is a turning point, one that shifts the course of your destiny. Heaven reveals another truth now, one that may pierce your heart with recognition. You have carried wounds that no one acknowledged. You carried emotional weight that others ignored because you hid it so well. You carried strength even on days when you felt like collapsing. But the tears you cried when no one saw were never invisible to God. They were seeds of transformation, seeds of elevation, seeds that watered the roots of your future miracle. This is why the blessing coming to you is not ordinary. It carries healing, restoration, and elevation woven together. It carries divine speed, divine precision, and divine timing. It carries the fullness of heaven's intention for your life. Your miracle will come in waves, not in fragments. It will come not to relieve you for a moment, but to shift you permanently. The countdown continues even now, and you can feel it. A heaviness lifting, a pressure releasing, a clarity forming, a quiet knowing rising inside you. These are not emotions. These are signals, signs that your spirit is aligning with what heaven already released. Archangel Michael now speaks with authority, and his words vibrate through the layers of your being. Prepare yourself. The unveiling is not finished. What comes next will confirm everything your spirit has sensed but could never articulate. His declaration breaks through barriers you did not know still existed. Old patterns lose their grip. Old fears lose their voice. Old doubts lose their influence. Child, before we move into the next revelation, let this truth settle. Your life is about to shift quickly, beautifully, unmistakably. And heaven wants you spiritually awake for what comes next. Trust this process, for the next unfolding will bring a clarity you have prayed for many times. Before you step forward, a gentle reminder rises in the spirit. Hold on, because the next part will open a door you have been waiting to see for a very long time. Type "I receive the light within me" in the comments. Blessing code 2299 is now released over your spirit. Child of purpose, as this unveiling deepens, understand that messages like this are not mere videos. They are vessels of divine light sent to awaken souls across the world. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not just giving. You are igniting a spiritual chain reaction that reaches hearts waiting for God's voice. I speak to you now in the authority of this moment. Your support becomes oil that keeps this prophetic flame burning. The same message that is unlocking your destiny today will unlock countless others because of your obedience. The title declared that heaven is unveiling miracles, and your act of giving becomes part of that divine movement. As you sow, may God return to you in waves of clarity, healing, and supernatural acceleration. Step forward boldly. Heaven responds to those who move in faith. Beloved soul, as we move into this next unveiling, prepare your heart, for the realm of the Spirit is opening in a way that reaches deeper than anything you have encountered in this message so far. What you are about to receive is not merely revelation. It is recognition. It is the moment where your spirit finally sees what heaven has always known about you. This part draws you into the core of the destiny God has been aligning since the moment your life began. Everything you have endured, everything you have questioned, everything that has shaped you is converging now, in this moment, into clarity. The spiritual atmosphere around you begins to shift once more. There is a stillness, a sacred quiet, as if heaven itself has paused all movement so that you may hear what must finally be spoken. Archangel Michael steps forward again, and his presence feels different, more intimate, more intentional, more focused. His wings fold gently behind him as though he is leaning closer to your spirit. His expression carries the weight of a warrior who has seen your battles from angles you never knew existed. Heaven reveals something now that many never discover in their lifetime. Your life has not been shaped by coincidence. Every moment of brokenness, every season of emptiness, every unexpected ending, every painful transition, none of it was random. You were walking through a divine training ground, a spiritual preparation tailored uniquely for your destiny. Others may not understand why your heart feels things so deeply, why your spirit senses danger before it arrives, why you transform during seasons that break others, why your setbacks ignite an inner fire instead of extinguishing you. It is because you were never just living. You were being formed. Child, heaven has watched your spirit evolve. The version of you that stands here now is not the same version that entered your past seasons. You are stronger, wiser, clearer, and far more spiritually perceptive. What once overwhelmed you now awakens discernment. What once discouraged you now activates faith. What once broke you now builds you. And the enemy has noticed the shift. That is why the pressure increased, why the attacks became more subtle, why confusion tried to cling to your mind in moments when you were closest to breakthrough. But the pressure did not crush you, it revealed you. Archangel Michael now places his hand over the center of his chest, the place where angelic warriors carry the essence of their divine authority. A radiant light expands from this gesture, surrounding the space between you and drawing your attention to a truth long concealed. Heaven wants to expose something that has been operating around your life for years. You have been walking with an invisible mantle, one that sets you apart even when you try to blend in. This mantle attracts both favor and resistance. Favor from heaven, resistance from darkness. People sense something in you, even when you are silent. Environments shift when you enter them because your energy disrupts spiritual stagnation. You were created to rise, and anything that cannot rise with you falls away. You have questioned why certain people left your life abruptly. You question why conversations changed, why relationships dissolved, and why connections you once valued suddenly lost their hold. Heaven reveals now, they were not meant to walk into your destiny. Their presence in your next chapter would have been a burden, a distraction, or a blockage. God allowed those endings not as punishments, but as protections. You were being elevated spiritually, and not everyone could breathe at the altitude you were rising to. There were moments you felt abandoned, but heaven was removing misalignment. There were moments you felt defeated, but heaven was strengthening endurance. There were moments you felt unseen, but heaven was hiding you from premature exposure. Sometimes God's protection looks like isolation, but isolation is where transformation breathes. Your miracle, yes, the one tied to this divine countdown, is not only coming to change your circumstance, it is coming to confirm your calling. Heaven wants you to know that you are not simply stepping into blessing, you are stepping into identity. You are stepping into divine authority. You are stepping into the role you were created to fulfill. Archangel Michael shifts again, this time gesturing to the spiritual path ahead of you. You see a faint glow, like a doorway forming in the distance. This doorway is not wide, but it is radiant, steady, and waiting. It represents transition, holy transition. You have been standing at the edge of this threshold without even realizing how close you were. But heaven reveals now. Your spirit crossed this threshold before your mind caught up. The internal shifts you felt recently were not emotions, they were spiritual confirmations. And now heaven speaks. The miracle approaching this child is the beginning of divine activation. This means your life is not just about to improve, it is about to evolve. Where you were once confused, clarity will take root. Where you felt stuck, momentum will appear. Where you experienced loss, restoration will flow. Where you felt unworthy, identity will rise. This miracle is the catalyst of a new phase of destiny, one that is aligned, guided, and protected. Child, before we move forward, heaven urges you to ground yourself. The next revelation holds answers you have sought for a long time. Do not drift now. Do not disconnect. Allow your spirit to stay awake, because what is coming next carries the power to shift how you see everything around you. And before we proceed, let this gentle reminder settle into your heart. Hold on, because what is coming after this will open your eyes in a way you never expected. The next unfolding will reveal the truth behind a mystery that has lingered around you for years. Beloved soul, as we step into this next unfolding, allow your spirit to breathe deeply, for the atmosphere around you is shifting once again. What is opening before you now is not merely another layer of revelation. It is a spiritual confrontation with a truth you have long sensed but never fully understood. Heaven has waited until this exact moment to reveal it, because your spirit has now reached the maturity, the strength, and the clarity required to receive it without fear or confusion. You are standing in a sacred place, a divine intersection where your past, your present, and your unfolding destiny meet in a single point of illumination. The light around Archangel Michael intensifies. His presence becomes more commanding, yet more comforting, as though he has stepped closer to ensure nothing disrupts what you are about to receive. His wings rise slightly, not in battle, but in affirmation, as though heaven itself is saying, "Pay attention, beloved child. What comes next is for you alone." He looks upon you with eyes that have seen the unseen battles fought on your behalf, eyes that have witnessed every spiritual attack you never knew was targeted at you, eyes that have watched you rise each time life tried to break you. And now, he prepares to speak a truth that will frame your entire journey with new meaning. Your life has been marked by a pattern, one you recognized but could never name. A cycle where just as you were on the brink of breakthrough, something would interfere. Just as you stepped toward clarity, confusion would appear. Just as you drew closer to joy, something tried to pull you back into heaviness. You blamed yourself, at times thinking you were making mistakes. But heaven reveals now, the resistance was not coming from your weakness. It was coming because your spirit carries weight in the unseen realms. You have been entrusted with a destiny that carries influence, a destiny that shifts atmospheres, breaks generational cycles, and awakens spiritual insight in others simply by being in alignment. The enemy recognized your potential long before you did, and because of this, he attempted to orchestrate distractions, delays, emotional storms, and relational fractures around you. But those attempts failed because Archangel Michael stood between you and every weapon formed against you. His sword has shielded you from invisible assaults, protected your mind when darkness tried to infiltrate your thoughts, and pushed back forces that sought to drain your strength. Child, hear this clearly. The reason your path felt so heavy was not because you were cursed. It was because you were chosen. Chosen to rise. Chosen to carry light. Chosen to break patterns. Chosen to walk with divine authority. Chosen to fulfill a calling that extends beyond you and touches lives you may never even meet. Heaven is now revealing the truth behind your resilience. Every battle strengthened a part of you that would be necessary for the miracle approaching your life. Every disappointment purified your discernment. Every heartbreak expanded your compassion. Every delay recalibrated your direction. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was purposeless. Everything contributed to the spiritual stature you carry today. Archangel Michael now gestures toward your future, and a pathway appears. Not fully visible, but illuminated just enough to show the direction. The light on this path vibrates with divine energy. This path represents the season you are entering, a season where blessing meets clarity, where purpose meets opportunity, where alignment meets acceleration. Heaven is positioning you not just to receive your miracle, but to walk into your calling with boldness. And here is the revelation that heaven insists you understand. You are not stepping into a moment. You are stepping into a movement of restoration, of redemption, of divine compensation. A movement where every area of your life touched by pain will now be touched by purpose. A movement where what was lost will be returned in greater measure. A movement where your future will no longer resemble the struggles of your past. But before your miracle manifests in its fullness, heaven asks you to do something simple yet spiritually powerful. Remain connected. Remain present. Remain engaged with the flow of this message, for each word is part of a divine sequence unlocking the final steps of the transformation assigned to you. And child, if this message has touched you, if your spirit has felt the shift, if your heart is awakening to truth, I ask you gently, support this message so it may reach others who are still lost in their battles. Like this message, share it so others may find what you have found. Comment to anchor this word into your life, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven sends next. Your engagement helps this divine mission reach souls who are crying out for clarity, for healing, for direction, for God. Now, as heaven prepares the next unfolding, feel your spirit steadying. The next revelation will dive into the deepest part of your destiny, the place where your miracle connects with the very core of who you are becoming. The countdown continues. The unveiling continues. The transformation continues. Beloved child, as we now enter this powerful and sacred unfolding, feel the atmosphere around you shift once again. What is rising before you is not merely revelation, not merely prophecy, not merely encouragement. It is divine confirmation. You have been walking through this journey word by word, breath by breath, and now heaven is preparing to place something in your spirit that will anchor everything you have received so far. This moment is heavy with purpose. It is filled with truth. It carries the vibration of heavenly timing aligned perfectly with your inner awakening. Archangel Michael stands closer now than at any other point in this message. His presence is no longer towering above you. Instead, it feels as though he stands beside you, shoulder to shoulder, guardian to warrior, guide to chosen one. His wings are dimmed slightly, not out of weakness, but out of reverence. Heaven is preparing to reveal something personal, something intimate, something so deeply connected to your identity that even the angelic realm bows in acknowledgement of its significance. Child, you have wondered for so long why your spirit feels different from others, why you notice things others overlook, why you sense shifts in the atmosphere before any physical evidence appears, why people open up to you so easily or feel unsettled by your presence, why you carry insights without understanding how you receive them, why your dreams sometimes feel like warnings or messages, why you get pulled away from certain people or drawn suddenly toward others. Heaven reveals now. You carry a prophetic sensitivity within you. This sensitivity is not random. It is not accidental. It is not a personality trait. It is a spiritual gift woven into your existence by God Himself. You have been walking with a spiritual radar your entire life, tuned to frequencies others cannot perceive. At times this gift felt like a burden. You carried emotional weight that wasn't yours. You sensed shadows before they appeared. You felt drained after being in the presence of those who carried hidden storms. You sometimes mistook your sensitivity for weakness, your intuition for overthinking, your inner knowing for fear. But heaven says now, it was never weakness. It was never overthinking. It was never fear. It was discernment. It was spiritual alertness. It was angelic guidance flowing through your intuition. It was your spirit communicating faster than your mind could interpret. Archangel Michael has been the guardian of this gift, ensuring that darkness could not distort it and that confusion could not silence it. He has stood with you in moments you felt overwhelmed by feelings you could not explain. He has shielded your mind when the enemy tried to twist your perception. He has defended your heart when emotional battles threatened your peace. And now, your gift is awakening in a new way. Heaven is preparing you for a season where your spirit will be sharper, clearer, more aligned. You will begin to understand things that once confused you. You will begin to see the purpose behind your sensitivity. You will begin to walk with intuition that feels like divine clarity, not uncertainty. You will begin to feel the weight of calling settle upon you, not heavy, but empowering. This is the moment where everything you have endured becomes part of your authority. Child, you did not survive your battles just to rest. You survived your battles to rise, to lead, to influence, to carry light into places that have been waiting for someone just like you. Every moment of heartbreak created compassion in you. Every moment of confusion created wisdom in you. Every moment of waiting created depth in you. Heaven had been shaping you into someone who carries presence, not pressure, purpose, not fear, clarity, not chaos. Your miracle is not only coming to change your situation, it is coming to activate your higher identity. It is coming to push you into the next dimension of your calling. It is coming to confirm what heaven has been whispering to you in dreams, in intuition, in moments of quiet reflection. Your life has purpose beyond what you can see. Archangel Michael speaks now with a voice that feels like thunder wrapped in calmness. Rise into the fullness of who you are. The time of hiding is ending. The time of dimming yourself is over. You were not created to shrink. You were created to shine. His words do not rush toward you. They sink into you, settling deep into the core of your spirit where truth cannot be shaken. Heaven reveals another mystery. Do you know why the countdown began when you opened this message? It is because the moment you aligned your attention with this divine unfolding, your spirit crossed into a new spiritual timeline. You stepped out of stagnation and into acceleration. You step out of confusion and into clarity. You step out of resistance and into momentum. Heaven saw your readiness, not your perfection. Heaven responded to your hunger, not your performance. This is why your miracle will manifest after you complete this divine journey. Not because the words themselves hold power, but because your spirit is shifting with each revelation, preparing you for the blessing without allowing old patterns to sabotage it. Heaven is not only releasing your miracle, heaven is preparing you to sustain it, protect it, and grow from it. Child, the next unfolding will take you into the final revelation. The moment where everything aligns, everything becomes clear, everything connects. You are close now. So close that your spirit can feel the warmth of breakthrough. So close that the enemy's voice has grown faint. So close that the atmosphere around you feels different. Before we continue, stay connected. Engage. Anchor yourself in what heaven is revealing. Like this message, comment something that marks your agreement. Share it so others may awaken. Subscribe so every divine word reaches you without interruption. These actions are not just engagement, they are alignment. Beloved soul, you have reached the final unveiling, the moment toward which every revelation has been guiding you. Take a slow breath now, for heaven is preparing to place something into your spirit that will not only complete this journey, but transform the way you walk forward from this moment. The atmosphere around you is not the same as when you began. It has grown thicker with truth, brighter with clarity, warmer with divine presence. You have walked through the doors of understanding, one by one, and now you stand in the inner chamber of revelation, the place where heaven speaks destiny directly into your being. Archangel Michael stands before you with a radiance unlike anything you have witnessed thus far in this message. His wings rise high, not in defense this time, but in triumph. His sword glows with a steady brilliance that symbolizes victory, protection, and fulfillment. The battles he has fought on your behalf, the nights he has stood guard over your mind, the seasons where he shielded you from unseen darkness, all of it has brought you to this sacred moment. He looks upon you not as someone fragile, not as someone uncertain, but as someone who has crossed through fire and emerged carrying light. Child, heaven wants to make something unmistakably clear. Everything you endured was preparing you for what is being released now. You have gone through seasons where you felt stripped, stretched, emptied, and questioned the purpose behind your pain. But heaven reveals now that pain was not punishment, it was pruning. Every tear watered the soil of this moment. Every disappointment cleared space for what is about to enter your life. Every separation created room for destiny-aligned connections. Every delay positioned you for divine timing rather than human timing. This is the moment where your spiritual journey shifts into manifestation. You have walked through revelations of identity, purpose, protection, discernment, and calling. You have seen glimpses of the battles waged over your life. You have heard the truth of why your spirit feels things others do not. You have felt the presence of Archangel Michael guiding you through each unfolding. And now, heaven says, it is done. The unveiling is complete. A miracle is released. The countdown mentioned at the beginning of this message was never symbolic. It was never poetic. It was literal. The moment your spirit opened to receive the words that flowed through this divine journey, heaven began accelerating what was once delayed. Barriers broke. Resistance collapsed. Clarity untangled confusion. You aligned with a spiritual frequency that had been waiting for your readiness. And now the miracle, your miracle, is no longer approaching. It is descending. It is arriving. It is entering the realm of your physical life from the realm of the unseen. Child, heaven wants you to understand the nature of this miracle. It is not a single blessing. It is not a temporary gift. It is not a momentary shift. Your miracle comes in 3 layers, woven together. The first layer is restoration. Everything that life took from you, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, financially, mentally, begins its return. But it does not return in the same measure. Heaven restores in abundance, not in fragments. What was broken comes back whole. What was lost returns multiplied. What you thought was over resurrects with greater purpose. The second layer is realignment. Your steps will feel guided, your decisions clearer, your path brighter. People who belong in your destiny will find their way toward you, and those who cannot walk into your future will gently fall away. You will feel a peace around your choices that you have not felt in years. You will feel heaven's approval in your steps, as though something beyond you is steering you forward effortlessly. The third layer is activation. This is the most powerful part of your miracle. Heaven is activating your identity, your gift, your sensitivity, your authority, your calling. You will begin to notice new spiritual strength rising within you. You will feel more connected to divine guidance. Your intuition will sharpen. Your inner clarity will expand. Your purpose will no longer feel distant. It will feel alive within you. Archangel Michael now raises his sword and draws a radiant circle around you. This circle is not a barrier, it is a seal. A divine mark placed upon your life that signifies completion, protection, and the beginning of a new spiritual chapter. Heaven has finished the unveiling, and now the manifestation begins. Child, listen closely, for this is the message heaven wants to echo in your spirit long after this moment ends. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. You are rising. And nothing formed against you can stand. What comes next in your life will confirm everything you have read. There will be signs, subtle but unmistakable, a sudden sense of lightness, a shift in your emotions, a moment of clarity, an unexpected opportunity, a surprising message, a door opening that once seemed sealed shut. These signs are heaven's signature upon your miracle. And now, as this divine journey completes, heaven releases one last ritual to seal this blessing over your life. Type "I walk into my destiny" in the comments if this message has awakened your spirit. Blessing code 7770 is now activated over you. Beloved one, as this sacred journey reaches its completion, understand that what flowed into your spirit today is not just a message, it is a ministry sent from heaven through this platform to awaken the chosen ones across the world. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are opening a path for God's word to reach souls waiting in silence, confusion, and spiritual darkness. Hear this in the authority of divine alignment. Your seed becomes a torch that carries this prophetic light further. The very theme of this message, destiny, unveiling, divine timing, resonates in your act of giving. For giving is a prophetic declaration that you believe in what heaven is building here. And to every giver, I speak blessing. May your generosity return to you in waves of breakthrough, peace, and supernatural acceleration. Do not hesitate. Move as heaven moves. Act as heaven prompts. Step into obedience, for God honors those who honor His mission.